Hello, this is Charlene. We're going to work a word problem using quadratics. So let's read our word problem. It says that the hypotenuse of a triangle is 1 foot more than twice the length of the shorter leg. And the next sentence says that the longer leg is 7 feet longer than the shorter leg. Find the dimensions of the triangle. Okay, so the first thing we want to notice with respect to this word problem is the fact that it talks about the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse implies that we have a right angle, because if you do not have a right angle here, you do not have a hypotenuse. The hypotenuse will always be the side opposite that right angle. Well, if we have a right triangle, that means that we can use the Pythagorean theorem to solve things to do with this right triangle. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue back to our word problem. Our hypotenuse. I'm going to call the hypotenuse the letter H. And then we've got the word is right here. The word is in math language means equals. And then right here it says 1 foot more. Well, 1 foot more means plus 1. Plus 1. Okay, and then it says, what is it plus 1 more than? It's more than twice the length of the shorter leg. So how can I write twice the shorter leg? 2 times the shorter leg. So I have now given myself a conversion from English words to math language. I have created an equation. The hypotenuse is equal to plus 1 goes on the back end, but it's plus 1 more than 2 times the short leg. So that means that my hypotenuse, which is this long side opposite that right angle, can be equal to 2s, the expression 2s plus 1. So let's go back to our word problem again and look at the second sentence. It says the longer leg is 7 feet longer. Well, I am going to say that the longer leg, I'm going to call it LL. You can just call it L if you want, but I like LL. So longer leg is, the word is means equals, 7 feet longer. 7 feet longer or 7 longer means plus 7. And then the shorter leg, well, again, I'm just going to call the shorter leg S again. So now I have another English sentence that I've now essentially converted to math language. So my longer leg is going to be equal to plus 7 goes on the back end. It's plus 7 more than the short leg. So that means my longer leg, this tall, long leg, can be written as the expression S plus 7. So S plus 7. And if you notice, the hypotenuse is in terms of the short leg, and the long leg is in terms of the short leg. So guess what? The short leg is just going to be the short leg. So now I have an expression for all the sides of my triangle, and now I can go back and focus back on the Pythagorean theorem again. The Pythagorean theorem tells us that the one leg squared plus another leg squared is equal to the hypotenuse side squared. So that means this leg squared plus this leg squared will equal the hypotenuse side squared. So that's how we're going to set up our equation that then we are going to solve. Okay, so we're going to have S plus 7 squared. That's the long leg. Long leg plus the short leg is S squared. And that's going to be equal to the hypotenuse squared. So that's going to be 2s plus 1, oops, forgot my 1 there, plus 1 squared. Okay, so we are going to have to work out this right here, this part right here by foiling it. We're also going to have to foil this part. So you may want to do that on another corner of your page. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go down here and I'm going to say S plus 7 times S plus 7. And you can do all the steps. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward us to it. So S times S is S squared. The middle is going to give us 14S, and 7 times the 7 on the end will give us 49. Okay, and then I also have to work out this 2s plus 1. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's do 2s plus 1 times 2s plus 1, and 2s times 2s, that's 4s squared. Then I'm going to have 2s plus 2s is going to give me 4s in the middle, and then 1 times 1 on the end is going to give me plus 1. So these two things are going to be equal to s squared plus 14s plus 49 plus my s squared that's already there, so plus s squared up there, and then this binomial that's being squared, or this binomial that's being squared is equal to the 4s plus 4s squared plus 4s plus 1. Now I just need to combine all my like terms. Okay, so I have an s squared term there, an s squared term there, and I've got 4s squared right there. But let's go ahead and combine these two on this side. S squared plus s squared, 2s squared. And then plus 14s plus 49, okay, is equal to all of this over here, except that I'm going to go ahead and start moving these things over. So I'm going to do minus 4s squared, minus 4s, and minus 1. So minus 4s squared, minus 4s, and minus 1. So all of these will cancel out, and that will end up being 0 on that side, and that's what we want. We want to get everything on one side. But let's go ahead and finish this, working this part out. 2s squared minus 4s squared is negative 2s squared. 14s minus 4s is going to be 10s. Okay, and then 49 minus 1 is going to be plus 48. Okay, so the thing is though, is that I don't like having that negative in front. So we're going to divide everything by -1, which means that essentially it's going to change all my signs. So that'll turn into a positive. This is going to turn into a negative, and this also will turn into a negative. Okay, so that gets rid of that negative in the front, because the negative in front is just a little inconvenient. So we like to get rid of negatives in front of squared terms. Okay, at this point, I just want to factor it. I want to factor it. So I've got a 2, a 10, a 48. I'm going to go ahead and pull that 2 out to make my life easier. So then it's going to be s squared minus 5s minus 24. And that means that I can focus on factoring just this part right here. So I've got 24 I want to consider, 24, factors of 24, in order to come up with a 5. 24, how about 8 times 3? Yes, if I subtract 8 and 3, I will get that 5. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do s goes in the front of both of these. 8 and 3 is my chosen factor pair. So there's an 8 and there's a 3. To get a -5, I'm going to have a -8 and a +3. And so those are my factors. Those are my factors. So at this point, I will do the zero product rule. The zero product rule says that I'm going to set all these equal to 0. So s minus 8 equals 0. S plus 3 equals, kind of getting messy there. S plus 3 equals 0. So that means that s is equal to 8, or s is equal to -3. Well, in the real world, do we have any such thing as a side that would be equal to a -3 value? No, we reject that in real life. So this is going to be the value for the short side. The short side is going to be equal to 8. So I can write that over here. The s is equal to 8. Now, if I know that s is equal to 8, that means I can now plug the value of s into the other equations. So 2 times the 8, which is what we know s is equal to now, plus 1. 2 times 8 is 16, plus 1 equals 17. The hypotenuse is going to be equal to 17. And over here on the long side, my s again is equal to 8. So 8 plus 7 is equal to 15. So those are my 3 answers. My hypotenuse is going to be equal to 17. My short side is going to be equal to 8. And my long side is going to be equal to the 15. And if you notice right over here, I had actually pasted the answer key on our page. so that we could double check it when we got to the end, and we are correct. We got all the right answers. So you just have a great day. Come back real soon. Click on the like button, click on the subscribe button, and we'll see you later.